What if the holiest man in your town carried the darkest secret? They called him a man of faith, a guide, a father, a preacher whose words echoed every Friday in the mosque at the heart of town. But behind the closed doors of his crumbling home, something unspeakable waited in silence. The story I'm about to tell you is not about shadows in the forest or creatures hiding under the bed. No, this is a story about a house. A house of stone and dust standing at the edge of a small desert town. A house that still whispers of the children who never left it alive. The town was ordinary. Streets covered in sand, neighbors who knew each other's names, and the constant rhythm of daily prayers echoing through the alleys. It was the kind of place where everyone trusted the preacher. He was stern, quiet, but respected. People said he carried wisdom in his eyes. Others said there was something colder behind his gaze, but no one ever questioned him. Who would dare? Children once filled his home. They were seen playing outside, chasing each other through the dust, their laughter drifting into the evenings. But as the years passed, their voices grew quieter. One by one, they vanished from sight. When neighbors asked, the preacher had simple answers. They're studying in another city. They're visiting relatives, they are safe. And who would question him? Who dares accuse a man of God? But whispers began to spread. Some said they heard cries at night muffled by thick walls. Others spoke of heavy thuds, dragging sounds, then silence. Dogs barked at the house every evening, refusing to go near it. The children never returned to school. Their friends stopped mentioning their names. And slowly, as if the town itself wanted to forget, their absence became a shadow no one dared to speak about. The preacher's house stood at the edge of the neighborhood, its shutters broken, its walls stained with age. To the outside world, it was just another modest home. But children passing by swore they felt eyes staring from the windows. They would run, trembling, swearing that something inside was watching. Years turned into decades. The preacher grew older. His sermons grew shorter. And yet he stayed in that house alone, always alone. Or so people thought. When death finally came for him, the town buried him with respect. They whispered prayers, lowered him into the ground, and left with bowed heads. The man of faith had gone to meet his maker. But the house remained. It stood silent for months, abandoned. Windows staring blankly over the dusty road until one evening, a group of young men, curious and reckless, decided to step inside. They carried flashlights, laughing nervously, pushing open the creaking door. The air inside was thick, heavy. The smell of rot clung to the walls. The rooms were empty except for broken furniture, torn pages of old books, and silence. But then one of them noticed something strange in the floor. Wooden boards uneven, as if they had been lifted and nailed back. They pulled at the boards. Dust rose, choking their throats. And beneath they found bones. Small bones stacked in silence. Decayed cloth, fragments of toys. A doll with no eyes. A shoe the size of a child's hand. They screamed, they ran. But the images followed them forever. The town was horrified. These were not strangers. They were his own children, buried beneath his feet, hidden inside his home for years. Music questions filled the air like smoke. Why would he do this? What madness had poisoned his heart? Some said he had gone insane. Others whispered about darker things, curses, jinn, a pact with shadows. But the truth was buried with him. He left no letter, no confession, no reason, only silence. The house was never demolished. Some said it was cursed. Others believed destroying it would release the spirits trapped inside. And so it stands to this day, an empty monument to evil. Locals avoid it after sunset. Children cross the street rather than walk past it. And yet there are those who swear they still hear sounds inside. Crying footsteps, small shadows moving across the broken windows. One man swore he saw a little figure standing in the doorway at midnight. Another claimed he heard a child's voice whisper in his ear, "We're still here." The preacher's house is more than just bricks and stone. It is a reminder, a warning that monsters don't always wear masks. Sometimes they stand at the front of the mosque. Sometimes they smile at you in the street. Sometimes they live next door. And sometimes they hide the unthinkable in their own homes. So what do you think? Was the preacher simply a man driven mad? Or was there something darker whispering in his ear? Would you dare step inside the house today? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are true.